This video is on high density fruit tree planting and how to prune trees. First of all, I have 3 pear trees here. You notice they're planted within 18 inches of each other, and that I have been pruning them so I don't have any growth in the center here. So I'm just going to back out so you can see a little bit better. All the growth, as you can see here from the side, is going out from the center. So by having 3 different trees close together, it does a lot of things. First of all, you could have 3 different varieties in the space that you would have 1 tree. Second advantage is if you need cross-pollination, they're right together so they can cross-pollinate. If you want to have 3 different harvest times during the year, here I have a southern queen pear, I have an Acres home pear, and I have a Tennessee pear. So I'm going to get 3 different kinds of pears, all from the same space I would have gotten 1 pear tree from. Another advantage in high density fruit tree planting is I diminish the chances of my entire crop failing, because I have 3 trees where I would have 1, and 1 tree may get a disease and die and be gone, and then you've lost the whole harvest. Here, if 1 tree dies, I've only lost a third. So there's a lot of advantages in high density fruit tree planting. So let's talk about how to prune these trees. First of all, what you do is you want to prune like a vase, and there's a lot of videos you can look up on this. But you want to have kind of a bowl shape so it kind of comes out and around. You want to have the center here open so that light and air can get inside. And that's how you would prune a tree typically, whether it's 3 trees or 1 tree. So I'm pruning this as though it's 1 tree. And so if you look inside of here, I've pruned off all of the places, all the branches that would have grown inside the circle. See, here's the outside, and all the growth all the branches are on the outside. Another thing you want to do when you're pruning is you want to make sure that branches don't rub across each other. And so here you can see this branch is rubbing across. So I can do 1 of 2 things. I would simply cut this branch off. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to train this so that they don't cross. Another thing you want to do once a year, this is what I've trimmed off so far today, is about 1/3 of the tree you trim off. So that's about 1/3 of the trees here. I also don't want these trees to get more than 10 feet tall, so I'm keeping that in mind. And wherever you cut, you're going to probably get a split. And so I want to have as many splits as I can, because that causes more branches. More branches means more foliage and more fruit. Cut 1/3 of the tree off, keeping in mind you don't want to go more than 10 feet tall, because once you get above 10 feet you really can't get the fruit, and all you're doing is using up resources for fruit that you can't get. Here are 2 nectarine trees planted next to each other. You don't have to do it in groups of 3s. Here I just have 2 different types of nectarines, and you can see again I have cut all the places where the branches would be growing inside the bowl so that nothing grows in the middle and everything grows on the outside. You can also see that I've got some tie downs here because I want to train these branches to grow out. Now I've been looking for affordable, what I consider affordable tie downs, tree ties, and I was actually in Home Depot the other day and ran across these heating air conditioning duct ties. And this was about $17 for 300 feet, and the ArborTies are about $40 for 250 feet. So this is a great buy. I'll have the links down below for where you can get this on Amazon for even a better price than what I paid at Home Depot. Now the reason why I want to use these is because they're nice and wide. It's not going to cause a problem on the branch. By using just regular string, it could damage the bark and cause it to not be able to feed up through there, because it's like cutting a vein on a tree. So this works really well, nice and wide, sturdy, and very inexpensive. Last year I had some small branches I was working with without much tension, and so I used this just twine here, and that seemed to work fine, but I would only recommend that on very small branches and things that don't have a lot of tension. So here's an apple tree that I need to prune out, and this is another option to high density growing. This is a 3-in-1 apple. I have 3 main branches here that come off, and they have 3 different types of apples. So I'll have 3 different harvests during the year, at different times of the year, and for different apples. So I take up one space and get 3 different harvests. Cross-pollination, it's a great option. Now I wanted to show you how a tree looks before I prune it, and how it looks afterwards. First of all, you want to get a good pair of pruners. This is Felco, Swiss made. I'm told these are the best pruners. I just didn't want to. I wanted a nice clean cut so I don't cause damage on the trees, and so that's why I got the Felco. I also got it with the little holster here. But what's important about your pruners is what you do before you go from one tree to the next. What I have here is just some rubbing alcohol. I think it's 70% alcohol. And what you want to do is you want to stop possibly spreading a disease from one tree, from my apple tree, over to my pear trees, or over to my nectarines, or whatever it may be. The way you do that is by spraying your pruning shears with alcohol, rubbing alcohol. Very, very important thing to do. Very affordable. I just have this in a little travel spray bottle I got at the store, and I just keep it in my gardening supply. So make sure you spray your pruning shears on the cutting edges before you go from one tree to the next. Okay, just like I was showing with the pear trees, you want to make a bowl inside here. So we've got a lot of branches growing inside this tree, which is going to cause a lot of problems. And I mentioned to you about rubbing. I noticed over here, you can see this branch here has come over all the way from across there. It's come over and it's rubbing on this here. And you can see how it's already causing an effect here on this branch. So either I would need to move this and train it to go somewhere else, and that's the reason why I have these strings on here, is to train the branches, or I need to simply cut it out. Even though I may have a nice strong branch right just like this going down here, see that branch right there? It's a great strong healthy branch. I've got to cut it off because it's going right through the tree. It's going to cause a lot of problems. I need to cut this off. This tree needs a lot of trimming because I've got a lot of growth going inside the tree, which is going to cause a lot of problems. So I'm going to stand back, give you guys an idea of what the tree looks like now, and I'm going to trim it. Again, I want this tree not to be more than 10 feet tall, so I'm going to trim it down, and I'm going to try to trim about 1/3 of it all the way off. I'm going to stop for now. It's thundering and lightning and raining, so I'm going to get out of here. A couple things. You notice I put a stake over here. I want to train this branch to come out. Otherwise it's going to start causing problems. So I'm going to train it while it's young, and hopefully it'll respond. And then I've missed a couple here, but then I've cut all the inside growth off. Cut about 1/3 down from the tree. I'm really concerned because we haven't had enough cold nights, and so this tree hasn't lost all its leaves yet, so it doesn't know that it's supposed to be dormant. So it's even questionable whether I should be doing this or not, but I feel that now is a good time to do it. There's what I cut off from the tree. I'm also going to be putting over, here comes the rain big time, I'm going to also be putting another stake over in the ground and pull this over. And if you want to have these nice sloping branches, you don't want anything coming straight up because you need to have the spring in it when it gets laden with fruit. Now everywhere, see all these here? These are all blossoms. These are going to have apples all over this tree like I did last year. And so where you see all these little blossoms, this tree will be completely covered with beautiful white blossoms. So anyway, that's where I am. I'm going to run now. I'm getting pretty wet. Hope this has been helpful. Let's see, I know there was something else I wanted to mention to you. I remember what it was. Okay, you notice that this here has a flat side. If you get this kind of blade, I'd recommend that you try to cut this. You cut so that the flat side is against the branch, not like this. Notice that there's a space there. That's not how you want to cut. You want to cut so that it's flat like that. Okay, hope this has been helpful. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. And if you go now, you won't get too wet. Oh, it's raining!